What is up, guys, and welcome back to this episode of the Road to Redemption podcast. I am, as always, your grateful host, Cam Williamson. Good to be back with you. Hey, I don't have a whole lot of time. I have to work tonight. I've been putting in the grind. I had a double yesterday, and I'm working all night tonight, but I wanted to make sure I stopped in, checked in with you. I'm trying to be more consistent on here, trying to make sure I, bring you guys some value when possible. And I wanted to talk today, you saw it in the title, about setting expectations. Right? Setting expectations for ourselves, setting expectations for our relationships in our lives, setting expectations for our careers, what have you, right? I think it's very important because setting expectations is a lot like setting boundaries. They can be uncomfortable because when you set either a boundary or an expectation, we're going to use those two kind of synonymously here. There's accountability in that. Right? So when I expect something from myself, I have to hold myself accountable. If I expect something from you, you have to hold yourself accountable. And I also am allowed to hold you accountable because this is something we've agreed on. Right? So if you if you get a job, well, you have an expectation from your boss to show up. And then you as an employee have an expectation to be treated well, safe, be paid on time, like things like that, right? In our interpersonal relationships, it's easier to start loosening our expectations of ourselves, of each other. When you start to have a family, loosening your expectations of the family dynamic. Those of us that have been married before, I'm sure you can all relate to the fact that when you first get married or have an idea of what your family is going to look like, it looks like dinner around the dinner table every night and, Sunday dinners with the whole family. And much of us will find that that's not actually the way it looks for one reason or the other, relationship problems, scheduling, whatever. And people start to get hurt, right? People start to feel some type of way, and then that makes them feel, their self-worth can start to go away and stuff like that because they feel like either they're not meeting this expectation, and this is so important. How many times have we been in a relationship or something like that, and you feel constantly like you're not meeting this expectation, but you don't know what the expectation is? You just always feel wrong. Myself, I have always tried to be someone that sets my expectations and I set my boundaries and I go, this is where I'm at today. I'm willing to be open-minded on most things. There are some things I'm not, right? And I should have been more stern on like my sobriety and been like, well, my expectation of myself is that I'm just not going to do that. I'm not going to drink because when I do, my life just goes off the rails every time. I lose everything. I lose everyone. And I end up having to restart every single time, right? And I think those that honestly know me best and that honestly love me would be like, Cam, because I love you, that's what's best for you. And now I'm finally at a stage of my life where because I've crashed and burned so many times on my own, by doing it my own way, and by loosening the expectations I have of myself, that I started to lose confidence in myself. And I was like, well, I told myself I wasn't going to get here again. And I did. So then you start to not even be able to trust your own judgment. You can't trust your own intuition. It's like, well, man, I've been wrong so many times before. Or I've been hurt so many times before because I showed up. I met the expectation and then I still failed for one reason or the other. Or I put this boundary in place and this person kept crossing it, so I had to get them out of my life. But, does that solve everything? No. You had plans, you had goals, you had dreams, you had whatever, and it's like, well, you have to set a new expectation. And maybe, for a while, your expectation is, I'll never be treated like that again. I'll never hurt like that again. Or, I'll never take a job like that again. I'll never work for somebody like that again. I'll never, be in a relationship where I have to feel like that again. right? And at the end of every single day, this is the hardest part for a human being to do. You have to sit down and honestly weigh out your decisions in a day. Where did you stick to your guns? Where were you open-minded? Where were you flexible? And where did you give in? See how there's a whole spectrum there? You stuck to your guns. Some would call it stubborn. More in the middle, you're kind of open-minded, willing to do whatever. And then on the other side, you're completely vulnerable and you collapse every time someone says something. And it's time for you to stick to your boundaries or your expectations of yourself or your relationship. It's easier sometimes to, especially with work schedules and kids and stuff, to just be like, oh, not today, just not today. But then that not today turns into like when your alarm clock goes off in the morning, you're like, man, not today. I don't have it today. Snooze, 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 snooze. So then you're rushing around because you got 10 minutes to get where you're going. And it's like, man, you start setting yourself up for all these crazy things. And like, I've seen it in my own life. You start letting these little things go, and then, you stop getting up on time. You stop showering. Like, you stop eating. You start drinking, and like, your only calories are coming from liquid and fucking snacks mainly, right? Like, and you get down to this place in life where you're like, I'm not good for anything because I'm not even sticking to what I tell myself, right? And one thing that I forgot, and I'm going to try to say this as humbly as I can without inflating my own ego, but there's something I've been reminded of a lot in the last week, which is like, every person that I've ever been involved with, every job that I've ever had, they saw the value in me. It's why they brought me in. It's why they kept me. And I can honestly say, I've been the one to walk away in almost every situation. I think I've only been fired from like one job. I walk away. And I walk away when I realize that I'm being mistreated, that my boundaries are being crossed, that my expectations are not being met. And for so long, with more situations, some situations more than others, but for so long, I thought I'm bad for having expectations in my life. I expect too much out of people because I've never had someone even meet those expectations. I've had so many people say they were going to, day in and day out. They say they're going to change. They say they're going to improve this to make things better for everyone. But then if things get a little rocky, they don't. And then every day we go, well, maybe tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes. And then you get in this weird situation where, like, because you've stopped making people show up the way that you have all agreed you're going to, you start to diminish yourself. And then what always happens? This other situation or person will start to impose their will on life around you. And then you're going to sit and realize that you're in a life that you hate, that you're in a life you don't want to be in. And that's what I challenge every single one of you guys to sit down today and ask yourself, like, the situations that haven't worked out in your life, the ones that you can even say you tried really hard in. If you can say that, that's where the accountability part's going to come in now. And I'm going to give you a little tough love. How many times did someone tell you exactly what they needed from you, and you told them exactly what you needed from them daily, while also understanding long-term goals, whatever those are for you? But daily, whether it's your boss, your romantic relationship, your kids, but having a conversation and going, I love you enough that I want to be on the same page today. So for us all to have the best day, here's what our day looks like. Here's what I need. What do you need? What do we need to figure out? What's our biggest stress? And when can we pencil time to just be together, or, in your relationships? And when can I pencil time to be engaged with the kids? That's being a productive human. That's being someone who is goal-oriented and really trying to stay on a course. When you see that the people around you don't want to have those conversations, They don't want to plan. They'd rather just take it as it comes. And these are the same people that like excessively spend money and they, drink and they take, things for mental health reasons. And, but sometimes the things that they take for mental health reasons can sedate them to the point where now you're not a functioning member of society. And I love you enough to tell you that this is ruining your quality of life. It's not helping it. But again, you have to hold people accountable and you have to have uncomfortable conversations if you love them. Right? One thing that I'll say about setting expectations that I have been so bad about, which is one expectation I should have, or, boundary I should have said a long time ago, which is if you mistreat me to the point where I have to get over you, or if you mistreat me to the point where I spend more than a couple days thinking about how things could have gone differently, or why did this person treat this person this way, and how did everything come to such a boil? There's a real peace that I'm finding in the term never again. Never again. And you can make that choice today. I will never be spoken to that way again. I will never speak to people that way again. I will never do that thing again. I will never be lied to again when I know I'm being lied to. Never again will I allow my emotions to ruin my life. Never again will I take the easy route. Never again will I let someone put their hands on me. Never again will I deal with people who, in the majority of our relationships, they put me down and tell me how I'm not good. Now, again, if I have real self-analysis and I know that I'm messing up and I'm not meeting a standard that I agreed to meet, well, that's on me, right? And I can sit around and I can boohoo about it and be like, oh, well, you don't love me for me and you're not willing to be patient and you're not willing. Hey, there are so many people in my life that had that choice too. And they chose what was best for them, which is they could not sit around and watch me drink and, treat people certain ways. And they were like, I can't. And you know what's funny is I respect those people a lot now. I respect them for going, no. But that same respect for them I now have for myself, which is I can look at that same situation and go, never again. No. Because when I needed someone, I was too much for you. Or when in a job situation, when I gave you my best, you shot me down and told me to just stay in my place. When, in your family relationships, I try to be honest with you and I try to tell you what's best for you. And I try not to sugarcoat anything because I love you. And sometimes it is tough, a lot like this show, where like we got to have hard conversations. We got to talk about uncomfortable shit. But the world doesn't change and people's lives don't get any better by sitting around just staying at surface level all the time. And I'll tell you guys, man, like, when you start to unapologetically walk around and you know who you are, good and bad, you know the potential you have to go off the rails, and you also know the potential you have to lift others up, create great things, and be successful in many different avenues of life. Well, it's a daily decision to choose to be the greatest version of yourself. Not just a good version, not just the version that you can, show up in today, but it is a daily choice to be like, I'm going to be better than just okay today. I'm going to be a great dad, not just a good dad. I'm going to be a great employee, not just a good one. I'm going to be a great son, not just a good one. Right? And those are all choices you can be like, I can go above and beyond. Sorry, my air just kicked on. It might get a little loud in here. You could be like, yeah, I'm allowed to go above and beyond for people because that's what I do. That's who I am. And I don't apologize for that anymore. And I will give you 110% every single day, unapologetically, whether I'm sick or not, or like, And that's one of my greatest strengths that I've lost is like, yo, even if I'm in a fucking panic attack on my way to get you, if I survive that car ride to get to you, I'll be there. And I'll put myself in that situation to get to you because that's how much people mean to me. That's how much like my commitment to people, my loyalty to people means to me. But it's also the greatest amount of hurt when that is not reciprocated because unfortunately I expect myself out of other people sometimes and I have to learn not to do that. But I believe that there are other people out there like me because again, I found them in MMA gyms. I found them in rock climbing gyms. I found them in businesses that I've worked at. Like I found people that see each other and go, no, man, I understand you. I'm a lot like you. And I, I have the same struggles with my girl or my mom or my, whatever, with our boss or whatever. And you humanize it. You humanize it and go, I'm not crazy. I'm not wrong. I just haven't found my tribe yet. I haven't found my people that know how to, take me. And I haven't maybe done enough work yet to be in these types of relationships. And, that all comes from learning through trial and error. I honestly do believe that. You can read all the books. You can listen to your parents and your grandparents about the way they did everything. But you're going to go out in life and you're going to make mistakes. You're going to fuck your life up. You're going to, you're going to have days that you wish so badly that you could take back. But all I'll tell you is you can't. You can't. And every day, every single person on this planet, if they're still here, has the opportunity or they have the excuse as to why they will or why they won't. And I am afraid that a lot of us are so comfortable in making the excuses as to why we won't, that you never will. And then we end up living lives of misery, despair, dread, and we slow walk ourselves into an early grave or we bed rot into an early grave. Guys, I'm telling you, especially if you're my age, I'm 32. The next 30 years of my life is going to go so fast. I already know it. My kids are going to be grown up and in college and gone, and I'm going to be a dude, just doing my own thing before I even know it. Don't let the next 30 years of your life make you to be an immobile, unhappy, bitter, drunken, pill popping, not doing nothing, unhealthy eating, soda drinking, like just doing everything for what you think is comfortable because you gave up 30 years ago. You stopped setting standards and boundaries, and you stopped setting expectations for people. You stopped making other people show up for you. Here's one thing I'll say, and I've been regretting to say this. I've been trying so fucking hard not to say this. But, there's never been a woman that my chain dangled in their face that did not come back after I left them and be like, why can't we work this out? Why was you? If you wouldn't have done this, then we would still be together. It's like, no. And I will stand on that until the day I fucking die now. No. It's not just because if I hadn't done that, we would still be together. No, it was everything that you did leading up to that. This is one of the greatest quotes I've ever seen. You don't get to take my reaction to your mistreatment and then say that I'm wrong for that reaction. You cannot disregard someone. And here's the problem with being a man. You can go to work all fucking day. You can come home, take care of your kid if you have them, make your family a meal, go to bed, and you could be either too tired to fucking sleep with your wife and then that's a problem, or you want to sleep with your girl and now she's too tired. And dude, you can try all fucking day long and try to be in communication with people and try to show up and try to leave work if you have to be at the whatever and make the money so you can send them to it for whatever. And you try to show up. But then if you don't care about Tina's gossip at work, or because you don't want to go out with this friend of theirs that you don't really like, but it's whatever, or you had a bad day and you had an emotional moment and now all of a sudden you're a narcissistic fucking asshole because of one bad day, and it's you find out what people really think of you by the way they treat you day in and day out, and then when you finally go, no, man, no. And a lot of the times, guys, I've been so willing to die for the relationships I was in that I was willing to kill myself, whether it be like, I'm going to hold on to this so hard that I'll drink myself to death before I give up. Dude, you know how crazy that is? Do you know how crazy it is to be like, I would rather drink myself to death than lose this person, but I know that this person is never going to do the things that we agreed to. Never. They're not going to, and they're not going to because I don't make them. Every time they don't, I go, it's okay, I love you, I cuddle them, you sleep together, and everyone acts like it didn't happen. It's the most toxic shit in the world. But then, I have to remember now, in my sobriety, I can say factually, every time I've been like, yo, no, my life is worth more than this. I'm worth more than this. Fuck this. And I leave, I always get messages, people following me around, attaching themselves to my family, doing all kinds of shit to stay close to me. For what? If I'm such a monster and I'm a narcissistic fucking drunken asshole, what the fuck you want to be around me for? But I had no settings, no standards, no boundaries, no nothing. You could have access to me whenever you want. You want to text me? Fine, come over. You want to show up at my house unannounced? Fine, do it. I'll be at work. Go ahead. Doors open. Come on. Hell no. Hell no. This is my place of peace. I don't let anybody in here anymore. This is where I come now to be like, no. All those other people that are outside these walls, you're out there for a reason. And yo, you got to learn to stand on that. Stand on that. Know the strengths you carry. Know your truth. Know the times you showed up for people and they didn't. So you said, see ya, go. And yeah, man, you might have done it a little explosively, especially if you stayed in something for years longer than you know you should have, because you just held on and held on and held on to hope. And guess what? That hope got you kicked in your ass. Find hope in yourself. Fuck all that other shit. It's not worth waking up a single day in 2024 dealing with people that don't want to deal with you. Dude, you can go live on TikTok and find thousands of people that want to deal with you. You don't have to live in the same house with someone that doesn't like you, doesn't respect you, doesn't want to talk to you, doesn't want to spend time with you, because they'd rather sleep or fucking do text or Snapchat or play some fucking game. Like, go then. Go. There's someone out there for you that wants to do all that, but it ain't me. I got a show to build, I got money to make, I got kids to raise, and I got a fucking future to go get. I want to still be on stages talking around the world by the time I'm in my 40s. I got a lot of work to do, and I'm raising kids, man. I don't have time to be dealing with shit like that. Don't lose yourself. Don't lose yourself. Stick to who you are. Work on yourself, the parts that need to. But again, realize that by fixing your weaknesses, they become your strengths. When you overcome things, now you overcame it. That's confidence, baby. That first day you get sober, that's another day confident that you can do too. That first run you go for, that's the confidence you take to go do another one. I ran 2 miles 3 days ago. Went to go run 2 miles today, ran 3 in the fucking rain. Why? Because fuck life, man. It's not going to break me. I am unbeatable. I have beaten every single day I've ever been up against. And that ain't going to change today. Love you guys.